Ich will es einfach mal ausprobieren, was passiert, wenn ich das mache. Aber ich gehe natürlich... Oh, oh, ich kann gar nicht mehr zurück. Oh, ich kann gar nicht mehr runter. Oh Mann. Oh nein, ich wollte eigentlich aber runterfahren. Okay.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Was mache ich jetzt? Ich kann ja nirgendwo hin. Hier ist ja keine Tür oder so. Ich könnte ja eigentlich nur noch nach unten. Ah, jetzt geht's wieder. Okay, dann...
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Ich weiß auch nicht. Stanley ist ein Genie.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Ja, ja. Das ist aber gut hier.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ja, die Frage ist jetzt, was wir tun. Bin ich so ein Freund von Mind Control? Nö, ganz ehrlich.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay. Geh ich zurück. Oh Gott.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Ah, schön. Okay. Wer sagt mir denn, dass ich hier nicht sterbe? Was ist das denn? Was steht denn da drauf? Nichts.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Naja, da drüben erwartet mich der Tod. Also ja. Oh Gott, ist das... Hier ist ja auch niemand. Diese riesigen Knöpfe hier.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay. Krass. Mal gucken, was das so ist. Ich weiß ja nicht, was mich noch erwartet, aber hier ist irgendwie Ende Gelände, oder? Was
This
passiert
mind
jetzt?
control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Wahrscheinlich.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. Aber die Frage ist halt, warum ich? Warum Stanley? Mind Control, Input.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Genau. Schluss damit.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Wow.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Errungenschaft freigeschaltet. Erhalte deine erste Errungenschaft. Ist auch schön. So, das war's aber noch nicht ganz, denn wir fangen wieder von vorne an. Weil das alles war nur ein schrecklicher, schrecklicher Traum und so ist es eigentlich gar nicht passiert. Ne? Also muss man dazu auch sagen. Und wir können das jetzt selbst steuern. Also wir können auch einfach mal nochmal von vorne loslegen.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Natürlich, wir haben irgendwas verpasst. Ich würde das jetzt nochmal genau so durchspielen, aber ich würde tatsächlich...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ich würde einfach mal nochmal genau sowas machen, nur ich würde den Ausgang, also Escape, würde ich nehmen.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, wir sind ganz schnell hier durch. Wir wissen ja, wie es funktioniert.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk.
pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Und jetzt gehen wir mal den Escape-Ausgang. Ich will wissen, was mich erwartet. Er sagt ja, es ist der Tod, aber ich möchte wissen, was mich erwartet. Oder was Stanley erwartet.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay. Ist in Ordnung.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Ich will aber nicht. Ist alles gut.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja. Ist vollkommen in Ordnung. Ist gut. Das ist gut. Naja, Holdrio.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story. Trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Do it to me. Do it to me. It's okay.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Okay.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?